Number 2 is independence. And this sales rep is sort of the lone wolf. It's the opposite of those who are in the first group. So we've listed these 1, 2 because I've seen as many independent salespeople as I probably have seen belonging type salespeople. So these people are very, very motivated by doing things on their own and being very, very independent. This is the way that I was when I was a salesperson as well. But as I went into in our introductory section here, but this sales rep, as I said, they're the lone wolf. They don't like to work in teams and will actually disdain any sort of team selling in all its forms. And they're totally in it for themselves and fiercely independent of the credit that's taken in a particular sales call, or whether or not the sale is successful, or whether or not it's not successful. They want to assert their abilities in a solitary environment, and they love taking singular responsibility for the actions in a sales environment. And we'll get into in further shows exactly how to use this to motivate these types of people and what sort of techniques that we can use in order to motivate this particular type of person. But the first thing here is to understand exactly what these 7 forces of motivation are, and then try to start thinking about your individual salespeople and which ones that they're identified with. It will also, in further shows, will also give you a questionnaire in which you can go through and actually identify which one of these your salespeople are, or which combination of these 7 forces they are as well. So this is going to be extremely powerful for you to use to really turn you into a top sales motivator and a tremendous sales leader. So number 2 is independence. And number 3 is importance. Now, this is an extremely popular one. In fact, most people, as Dale Carnegie once stated, love the feeling of importance. It's an intrinsic motivator. It's something that's extremely self-satisfying and comes from within. If you know a lot about motivational theory, intrinsic motivation is something that comes from within. However, this group of salespeople is tied to the opinions, obviously, of others, because what they want to do is they really do want to satisfy to a certain degree, but they want to feel as if they are important. So how do you really motivate a salesperson like this? You motivate them by making them feel important. Now, everyone likes to feel important, but on a continuum on the scale of maybe 1 to 10, these people are higher in the 8, 9 category, as opposed to some others who maybe are not motivated by importance, are on the 2 to 3 end of the scale. So like I said, they're tied to their opinions of others, and you as their sales manager, they're extremely tied to what you think and what you say to them. So they love and are driven by feedback. Feedback is their absolute lifeblood, and the viewpoints of others regarding their progress. These people are dying to know how they did after a sales call. They're dying to know what their performance appraisal looks like at year end or maybe at a mid-year review. They really want to know exactly where they stand, because typically they are tied to one of the other 7 forces of motivation, which is the learning end of things, which is a very nice combination. If you have importance as well as learning, then you can tell them exactly where they stand, and then they go back and they learn more to become better at their craft and to really hone their craft and become even more effective as a salesperson. So number 3 is importance, and also likewise, this salesperson is extremely in tune with the approval of others. So as a sales manager, this is something that you really have to be very exquisitely in tune with. You have to be very cognizant of it, and if they're looking for approval from you, then you have to give it or dole it out in either bite-sized chunks or on a regular basis or a somewhat irregular basis, and we'll give you a little bit more insight into how to do that in other shows. So they're also likewise very sensitive to criticism, and they don't want to upset people that they value their opinions of. So somebody like you as a sales manager, you've got to be very careful how you couch your criticisms as well as your praise in those who are primarily motivated by importance. And now the last one that we'll go through here, and we just referred to it, is the need for knowledge. And the knowledge-hungry salesperson is motivated by their thirst for learning new things. And they seek new skills. They actively seek new ways in which to further their knowledge. And they're likely, in this case, they're probably your product knowledge experts. if you have particular products or product lines, they know all the details, and they thrive on the fact that they know all the details, and they're extremely motivated by this. And the way to motivate these people is to give them little extra projects and things like that, which we'll get into in further shows. So they seek these new skills. They actively look for new ways in which they can further their knowledge. They love information. They love assimilating this information into their sales pitches to become even better at what they already do. And they continually ask you lots of questions, and they enjoy taking on new projects that spur their own desire to know more. So this one is a pretty easy one to motivate, but you combine this with an internal drive and an independence, and you've got a very, very good salesperson that has some very good intrinsic motivators that will really drive them towards sales success. And you as a sales manager can harness these very easily in order to get the very best out of them. So those are the first 4 of the 7 forces of motivation in this week's show, and we'll get into the last 3 next week as well, and we'll also start giving you some insights into how to actually use these 7 forces of motivation to get the very best out of your salespeople, or teach this to your sales managers so that they can get the best out of their salespeople using this knowledge of the 7 forces of motivation. Now, for hundreds of other sales management techniques and strategies, such as this one, you can find them in the Sales Management Mastery Academy, along with tons of done-for-you resources to help you and your sales managers achieve sales management success. To claim your free sales manager training inside the Sales Management Mastery Academy, including our most popular training of all time, which is how to motivate your salespeople to peak sales performance, visit salestraininggift.com. Now that's it for this week's episode of Sales Management Mastery. Until next time, wishing you ultimate sales management success.
You've been listening to the sales management, motivational, and leadership training expert, Ralph Burns. Ralph invites you to discover the sales manager training secrets that will unleash a flood of new sales from your sales team. Visit salestraininggift.com and you'll get instant access to your choice of life-changing sales manager training techniques, only taught in the internationally acclaimed Sales Management Mastery Academy online community. Go now to salestraininggift.com. Sales Management Mastery.